Welcome to another fantastic Koala Gardens premiere. If you're watching this as we go live, please do pop into the live text chat box and say hello as we're watching along together. You can even ask me extra questions while we watch. Have you ever wondered just how koala mating courtships play out? Well, in today's video, we will see some fascinating behaviour together. I had cameras out for 8 hours watching these three. Don't worry, I've put many hours more into editing the best cuts and doing some time-lapse fun too. So we've got here Valentine, Ellie, and of course her Joey is in the tree, and I bet that Joey is wondering just what is going on. And I want to acknowledge the Widjabul Waiable people of the Bundjalung Nation, on whose land I live, work and play. Have you made sure that you have subscribed to my YouTube channel? Please do. It really helps the algorithms as well as it makes sure you get notified. All of my video is always free, but if you would like to support what I'm doing, there's some great ways that you can get involved for small amounts of money and get some amazing exclusive perks for being involved and helping me help save koalas. Just imagine my surprise when I came along this morning and found Valentine sitting in this tree, and the first thing I noticed was only Valentine, but just his posture, and he would kind of look at me a bit and then he would be looking up, and it gave me a clue, and I started to follow his nose and look up the tree myself, and to my surprise there was Ellie, and then way up higher there was Ellie's Joey. Now, male koalas, let's be honest, they're opportunists and they will take any opportunity for a mating. But the female has an awful lot of say in this matter too. And the older, bigger, more mature and more experienced a female becomes, the more say she really does have in the situation. So you can see here that Valentine is sitting there and he's looking at Ellie and she's looking down at him. And I'm sure there's a lot of communication going on between them just with facial expressions, if only we knew how to completely unravel those with a koala. I realised that I would probably be very wise to get back to the house pretty quickly, get a hold of a tripod and get a camera set up so that I get much better video, because a lot of the time when I'm taking video I'm hand holding the camera, and so we get all kinds of little bits of shakes and things happening. Just look at his posture though. The way he's sitting back on that hard cartilage pad that goes across his lower back, and has got his feet braced up on that branch, and that intense look on his face as he just looks up at her as though, if I can stare in her eyes long enough, I'm going to have her under my spell. But then, just as I was thinking about packing up and racing back for that tripod, there was some movement, And well, you think I'm going to go back to the house when maybe something's going to be going on? No way. So I stayed for a bit longer. A really large part of koala courting behaviour involves the two koalas being in the same tree and looking at each other, turning away, sleeping. The male will try to stay in a position where he can prevent the female leaving the tree, but it's quite possible they've already been in this tree for much of the night, and Valentine looks like maybe he's heading up for some leaf. Don't you love how he's like moving in slow motion as though he doesn't want to, make any sudden movements and cause any kind of alarm or whatever. I suppose one of the things is he wants Ellie to stay sitting there while he moves up and has something to eat. It can be quite common that the male will eat during the time they're in the same tree, and the female may not eat at all because she may spend most of her time just trying to sit very still, kind of like, if I just sit really still, maybe you'll forget I'm here. So you can see he's found a nice little patch of leaf where he can at least get a snack just to, keep him going for a little bit longer. And Ellie is watching him. She's very aware of him being there, obviously. Well, I decided, okay, I'm going to nick back to the house, get my tripod, come back in and set it up. You can probably see immediately that there is a difference to the video quality when I'm able to sit the camera really stable on a tripod. I have moved around to a different spot, but you can also see that in the time I was gone, Valentine has eaten most of the leaf out of that spot, and he's kind of watching me. Ellie's put her face on the other side of the trunk. Again, it's kind of that behaviour of maybe I'll just be forgotten about if, you can't even see me. And Valentine's now coming back down that branch a little bit. He is in the same spot. I'm on a completely different angle because I was hoping to find a spot where I would be able to see a large part of what's going on from one place. It's quite difficult because the land here is on a hill, and there's all different trees. Like to the left you can see that there's a small that's more of a large shrub rather than a tree, and so I can't get on the other side of it or I won't see through to them at all. So finding a good spot is hard. Now look at this. He's just jumped over onto the trunk that she's on. What fascinating behaviour. I'm literally like just sitting on the quad bike now, holding my breath, watching this unfold. Wouldn't you love to know what they said on the other side of the trunk? Whatever it was, I don't think it was, yeah, let's go, because he's now actually climbing up the tree higher above Ellie. And I have to admit this concerned me a little bit because Ellie's Joey is up in the treetop. Now, mating time between a mum with back young and a male can actually be a dangerous time because that back young needs to stay completely out of the way and they'll be fine. The male won't go racing up to attack the back young. But if the male is attempting to get near to the female and the back young gets in the way of that path, then they are in danger of accidentally falling out of the tree if the male, rushes them, or even being thrown out of the tree if there was a lot of aggravation and excitement going on. So Valentine's really going right up high now, and Ellie's just sitting there like, okay, what do I do? He's really got her, because if Ellie were to leave the tree now, she's leaving her Joey in the tree. And that would mean that her Joey may have to try and come down past Valentine to get out and rejoin her. And that would become dangerous for Joey. While Joey stays up the top, Joey is going to be, just fine up there, staying out of the way. But Ellie really does have some choices to make. Now, because I've got a lot of footage and I want to show some behaviours, I'm going to just speed this next little bit up. So she's not moving as fast as what it looks, but I want you to see what happens next. So now I'm sped up to 2.5 times normal speed, and Ellie has a bit of a look up, and guess what? She's going to go up the tree. So she must be a little bit concerned about Joey, or she's hungry and has decided that if he's gone up the top, then she can get up there and have something to eat too. So up she goes. Just as she's disappearing out of the view of the camera, and of course I'm not there, I'm back at the house, I've left the camera. This could have ended up being a long time of video with no koala. Look at that. Whatever was going on up there, she decided, nope, I'm going to just come back down. And to be honest, that's probably a fairly good idea. When I came back, I moved the camera around to another angle and found there's Valentine. He did move up there just to get himself a really good feed. And in the meantime, Ellie went back up a different way, and there she is up the top near her Joey. Now, it must be really hard for koala mums, because she wants to make sure that her Joey is okay. But, I don't want Valentine heading up into that part of the tree. But as it turns out, she was making the right call. There he is. He's still having a good old munch out. And Ellie has some time to give her Joey a bit of a feed, and make sure that her Joey is going to be all right if they have to separate for a little while. What a great mum she is. They both stayed up there like this for some time. This was probably over half an hour or so. And as I'm madly editing all of this video, so once again, I'm going to speed things up. This time I'm going to speed it up to 5 times the normal speed, just so that you can see the movement. So remember, this is 5 times faster than it was actually happening. You can see he keeps like leaning back and looking up at them. It's as though you can hear him thinking, okay, I've got a belly full, but I didn't fill my belly so far that I just have to go off into a sleep. I filled it enough that I can now think about, can I go up and get that girl? And after what was in real time a long contemplation, he did. Here you go. There's one of those bullet moves. Actually, do you want to see that one in slow motion? Here we go. This is just amazing. I had not even noticed this until I was doing this part of the editing on the video. He reaches out, gets a hold of that branch across there, then tries to use his right leg to swing it out and get a hold of the branch, and he just can't get it. So now he's like, left hanging between these two, and he can't get it, and he goes, okay, I better go back to the start, get another good foothold before I try again, because why go down just a couple of feet and jump across where it's easier? Nah, I can do it. I've got this. And he looks like he's thinking, maybe I shouldn't have, but now he reaches across. And is he going to make it? This time he obviously grabs a hold of something, and that does it. He can finally let go with that left leg and bring himself across. I tell you, that one looked like it took a lot of nervous energy. It ended up he didn't go all the way up the top and try and confront Ellie, but he went to sleep. And can you see there that Ellie is now having a bit of a feed? She's obviously said, okay, he's gone to sleep. I'm going to risk a bit of movement, and hopefully he'll sleep soundly enough that he won't notice me, and I can get the feed that I need. So even though it doesn't look to the casual observer as though there's an awful lot going on there, there is actually a lot going on, and the situation for Ellie is quite tense, really. So I'm going to just speed this up a little bit again so that you can see that while he's sleeping and Ellie's up there, she just keeps looking down and checking on him. This went on like this for about another half an hour or so, with Valentine getting a good little bit of a kip in, and Ellie trying to relax but spending most of her time double checking that he wasn't moving. And at one point, guess what? He does wake up. There he is. He's just starting to stir a little bit, and I'll go back to not quite such a fast speed, but he wakes up. He has a bit of a scratch, and she must be thinking, what's he going to do next? And he goes down. Once again, I've just moved where the camera is a little bit, because what I liked here is that I could see all three of them. The slight angle I was on before, we couldn't see Ellie's Joey at all, but we can clearly now see Valentine down the lower part of the main trunk, Ellie quite a way up the tree, 2/3 of the way up, and her Joey right up in the top part of the tree. I think it's fantastic that Ellie's Joey is learning a lot today as well. Ellie would have given a lot of cues to her Joey about the need to get out of the way and stay still. And we don't know a lot about exactly how koalas communicate this kind of thing. but for one thing, Ellie is normally pretty calm and pretty relaxed with her Joey. Her Joey will have sensed all of her tension and her anxiety when all of a sudden there was a male in the tree. And he's responded really well to that by just staying up out of the way. You know, he hasn't kept trying to come down and pester her. He has just pretty much taken all of the social cues and gone, I'm better off just hanging up here. Mum's moved away from me, but I'm just going to sit tight. Smart boy. I've moved the camera a little bit and been able to get to a spot where I can zoom in on this Joey of Ellie's. Now look, firstly, this is really typical sleeping behaviour for him. It's quite fond of getting up in the treetops and just literally draping himself over a branch and letting his arms and legs hang down. So that's definitely like just situation normal anyway. But just look at him up there, taking all of it in his stride, staying relaxed and staying out of the way. Ellie really does make the best Joeys ever. I'm quite sure of it. Did you see that bit of extra relax and an arm just kind of dropped? He's watching me because I'm still there at the moment, just making sure I've got the camera set up well and that he's not going to, just move a minute after I start filming. But he's really not too worried, and here he goes. Full relaxation mode, except for that biting fly at his hand. Full relaxation mode is what he's aiming for. Yeah, check on me again. But really, sleeping out this day of excitement between mum and this other big male koala is really the best way to have it just go away as fast as possible. Now come back, move the angle of the camera a little bit, and I've been able to get to a spot where I can see all three of them again. Not as clearly as I'd like to. There's just like always a branch or a bunch of leaves in the way of one koala or another, particularly when you're trying to get three at once. But we can see we've got Valentine guarding the tree so they can't get out, Ellie gone to sleep above, and then Joey at the very tippy top. Once again, quite a bit of time went by, but after a while, finally, Joey woke up. And Joey probably wants to get a feed from Ellie. And so I'm going to speed this up just a little bit, not super fast, but just so that we get to see how Joey moves around and comes down to Mum. So far as he's approaching, it doesn't even seem like Ellie at first woke up, but she's moving a bit now, so she's aware that Joey's coming down. It's almost like he's sitting there above her asking permission, please, Mum, can I just have a little feed? I'm really thirsty, Mum. I need one. I need one. And so he talks her into it, or she ignores him enough that he presumes that he's going to take that as being permission. And he comes down on her level, and now he comes down trying to get the right position. In fact, it looks like she's telling him to actually go away, but he's not so easily daunted. As are most young, he's quite determined that really he does want to have a feed. So he gets down, gets past her, goes to get in position, and look, Valentine's woken up. And that alerts him, and he's like, hang on, what's going on up there? Joey's now very aware that Valentine's awake, and Joey decides, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, this is not the smartest idea. Maybe I should take off back up to safety, because we don't mess with big adult males. What I find particularly interesting about that little piece of behaviour that we just got to watch is that Valentine didn't even come all the way up. He just, it's like watching an adult with a child, and a child looks at the adult and you can see what the child wants to do, and the adult is just, posturing a little bit at them, maybe shaking their head a little bit, maybe just lean forward a little bit, and the young runs away. Now just watch this. Is that strong enough to hold you, Valentine? No. No, it is not, and it fell right out of the tree. We often see koalas sitting on things that look too thin and too, fragile to hold their weight. Yeah, well, sometimes they do break bits off the tree. Really didn't faze Valentine at all, he's deciding that, well, maybe he won't go all the way up, but I'm sure that sort of thing happens all the time. And we'll just speed things up a little bit to watch as Valentine decides where it is that he's going to settle himself. And the way he wedges in, works his position out. And then I just love this, the way he just completely slumps into a full-on sleep. Koalas just are amazing. You just watch him. Once again, I've come back, and now I'm looking at Valentine from a different angle, from around the other side of the tree. We'll go up, and there's Ellie, and Joey has come down, and look how Joey's like laid back along that branch beside Mum. I mean, they look like, exactly the same. Mum laying one way, Joey laying the other. Just hilarious. I actually decided to come around again on another slightly different angle. I kept, trying to keep changing the angles and the points of view to find the best ways through. So now I'm like behind Ellie and looking at her, and she has got Joey is laying on the branch just up to the right of her shoulder, and we'll just speed this bit of video up. Ellie wakes up and has a bit of a scratch, and that's enough to just kind of half wake Joey up a little bit. And then Joey decides that, well, maybe it's time to head back up the tree, and off he goes. Look at how sure-footed he is in that tree. Even the youngest of koalas, they just learn how to do things in the treetops so early. And he's going back to his I can just find a place to flop and sleep postures again. This behaviour that we've just watched only for half an hour, which is cut down of 8 hours of filming that I did, gives you some bit of a clue as to how complex the courtship rituals for a koala are, because that male actually has to be quite patient, and even when he's being this patient and waiting his chance, it's no guarantee that he'll be successful, and this can go on for 24 hours or even longer. So koalas are, as we all know, just incredibly amazing. And you know what? You've done it. You've made it to the end of yet another Koala Gardens video. I hope that you've enjoyed watching some of these behaviours when there's 2 adult koalas in a tree, and just how much goes on while how little goes on. Would you take a moment to make sure you did smash that like button before you write in the comments below a good match? Thanks for watching. There's lots more great video coming your way soon. Another way that you can support Koala Gardens, but not just that, a way that you can find terrific, beautiful, very different gifts for your friends, or just something that you want for yourself, is pop over to my Redbubble store and have a look at all of the different designs that are on so many different things there. Over 60 different pieces of merchandise with a couple of dozen koala designs on it. There's something there for everyone, I promise you.